Grace of your Antahkaraṇa means what? Now, Antahkaraṇa is a sum total of these faculties. Faculty of mind, intellect, your subconscious and your ego. These four faculties in one are called Anta. Anta means inner. Karan means medium. So medium to think, to choose, the medium of holding on to the memories, and I know, the sense of I now know, that's the ego. So your grace of the Antahkaraṇa is required. Now, what does this mean? Let's say, with God's grace, somebody brought me what I had asked for, a cup of coffee or water or milk. So, with the grace of Ishwara, somebody ran and brought me that and placed right in front of me. But then I got busy into something, say talking to somebody or taking phone calls or whatnot, and I totally missed the prasad which I had received. Possible? Same thing happens. The grace of Ishwara has already happened to you because you are not born like a donkey or a mare or a cock or a hen or a crocodile. You are born like a human being. That's grace of Ishwara. So many people sometimes say, oh, God doesn't bless us. Hey, you fool. You are born like a human being. You are blessed. 2. Grace of Vedas. Do we have access to Vedas? Yes. As I have said, the last almost 700 of 700, almost we should say 19. In 1947, the country got independence from Britishers. But before the Britishers, it was the Mughals, the invaders who had been ruling this country. So beginning from 10th century to 19th century, 20th century actually, India, not the right name, Bharat, yes, the true name, Bharat was a slave of its colonizers or the invaders, right? So this became where you have to fight to live, where you have to fight to protect your woman who would get kidnapped and sold in market, where you have to protect your farmlands and your houses and your livelihoods from these invaders. Where is the time to go and study Sanskrit? The Gurukula system got destroyed methodologically. So our country had this great language which was a common man's language, and that's Sanskrit. But slowly, almost the whole Bharat was, invaded and ruled by Mughals and all these people who brought the Persian and the language over here and imposed that on us. And they closed and burnt the schools, the Gurukulas, and burnt the scriptures. But see, I would say today, in this century, I see we are very lucky because all those scriptures, the Vedas, have been digitized. Now you can go on the internet and get it. Now you can go and get a translation in whichever language you like to read and you love. The Germans are doing great work on it. There are 16 universities in Germany. 16. Germany is not very big, but 16 universities where they are teaching Sanskrit. And South America and Spain too are following that. Right? So the access to have these great Vedas, the great books, that is a grace. That is what I say, no amount of cruelty of these invaders could actually kill or totally diminish the Vedas. The Vedic knowledge is still present, and at this moment, most of the Europe and many people are waking up to it and learning this language and learning the Upanishad and learning the Vedas. So I believe this is the grace of Vedas. This is not intelligence of humans. I would say this is the grace of Vedas, that it is making the individuals get attracted to it. Then comes the grace, the Antahkaraṇa, meaning, see, Vedas are there, Guru is there, Ishwara's grace as a being born as a human is there. Now, are you realizing that moksha is your ultimate objective? Are you paying all your attention and energy and working for achieving that? Is your mind totally concentrated on this very one objective? Is your mind empty of all worldly passions and prejudices and hatred and greed and ego and lust and whatnot? This is what I am saying. The grace of your own Antahkaraṇa is missing. A person who is a tamasic, idle, just wastes his time, reckless gossiper, thinking about indulgences, food, sex, sleep. These three things, if are the primary goal of your thinking, then this means you are not receiving the grace of your own Antahkaraṇa. Hence the mind, intellect and your subconscious has to be made purer. And all the inertness, tamasic, darkness has to be removed. Now all the three graces, Guru, Ishwara, Veda are present. Just because your own grace is not there, hence you are in a bondage. So who is to be blamed if you are suffering in your life? Think about those people who could not meet any guru in their life, who never heard about Vedas ever, who don't know what Ishwara is, who have never done any japam, who have never done any austerity, who have never given any vichāra, who have never ever even have a knowledge that there are people, there are individuals who are called the Sadguru, who don't even have this information. But then there is another class who have this info, but yet their mind is so restless, like a drunkard monkey who has been bitten by a scorpion and who is jumping around. The mind is such. So this mind, which is reckless, frustrated, agitated, cannot enjoy the other three graces which are there. Question: what is the benefit of such vichāra? Such vichāra leads to Jaḍa aparoksh Brahmgyana. Why should we think on the lines of what Atman is or Atman is Brahm? What is the benefit? See, the benefit is that you will get Jaḍa aparoksh, that is the direct encounter of your own true self. That is the benefit. And on knowing this, your bondages will be gone and you will be liberated. You receive param ananda, the ultimate joy. And the fear of death goes away and the fear of unknown goes away. So, when is vichāra considered to be complete? Answer: vichāra is considered to be complete after attainment of Jaḍa aparoksh Brahmgyana. What is the completion? Well, when we have the Jaḍa, when we have that firmness, when we have that resolve, when we have that direct experience of our own true self, that is the fruit, that is the completion of the Jaḍa aparoksh Brahmgyana. Question: What are the objects of vichara? See how the chain is being built. Answer. Vichara is to be done on the following. Who am I? Who is Brahman? And what is prapancha? Now this prapancha is a new word, so I'll explain that. Prapancha. Pancha means 5. Pra means the expansion of these 5. Now what is this 5? 5 elements. The 5 basic elements: earth, water, air, fire, akasha. Akasha means the void, the emptiness. So these 5 basic elements, how were they formed? Why were they formed? What was the process in which they came into being? How did these 5 elements become reason of this whole universe to be, to exist? What if the cause of this whole universe is what? And what exists in this universe? So many things, but Sanskrit gives us one word, prapancha. Pancha, 5. Pra, expansion. So what is prapancha? Who is Brahm? Who am I? That's the 3 basic foundations on which the Vedanta philosophy sits. Question 27. What are the generic attributes of the above mentioned entities? Simple answer. Chaitanya means ever conscious, and Jada means inert. So this phenomenal world which you are seeing is Jada, and I and Brahma are Chaitanya. This prapancha can be divided into, say, 2. One macrocosmic, another microcosmic. That too again comes into 3 layers: gross, subtle, and causal. These 5 elements have a gross form, have a subtle form, and have a causal form. So when we are talking in relation to this mind, this my body, this one unit, that becomes the micro, small, and macro means big. So when we talk about all the bodies, all the minds, all the planets, this becomes macro. So micro and macro, cosmic, gross, subtle and causal bodies, their state of being, their state of dissolution, their state of functioning, and their attributes, this all together becomes prapancha. One word, prapancha, but this one word holds everything in it. What is Chaitanya? Answer: Chaitanya is that which is gyāna-roopa, the essence of jnana, and that which knows the entire prapancha, and that which cannot be known by any mind or senses. Now, this is a perfect example and perfect definition which is ever possible to give to this one word, what Chaitanya is. Now, Chaitanya means to know. Chaitanya means gyāna. Gyāna means as such wisdom, but gyāna also means who is knower of this wisdom. Whether it's light in the room or whether it's dark in the room, somebody else is seeing. The darkness is not seeing itself that I am dark, and the light is not seeing that I am present there. Somebody else is saying there is a darkness or there is a light in the room. So when your mind is dark, with avidya, or your mind is illuminated with higher knowledge, the Brahma Vidya, who knows that? I, and that's why I am Chaitanya, the one who knows. And this Chaitanya knows the whole prapancha. Who knows? Sun, moon, Saturn, Mars, Milky Way, billions of stars, this earth, all the oceans, and the rivers, and the waterfall, and whatnot. Who knows all this? Your mind. Who knows the mind? You. Hence, you are Chaitanya and mind is inert. Also, the important part of this definition is that which cannot be known by mind or senses is Chaitanya. Mind cannot know Chaitanya, but Chaitanya knows what the mind is. When your mind behaves stupid, you know. When your mind behaves intelligent, you know. When your intellect understands, you know. When your intellect doesn't understand, and you give me that bummer look, you know. When your mind is beaming with Brahma Vidya, you know. And when your mind says, oh, it's so tough, I can't get it. Now, issue is that you associate with the intellect so strongly that you think that this intellect is you. Hence, if intellect is not getting something, you say, I am not getting it. Now, when somebody says to you, you are a fool. Anika, you are a fool. Now, she's smiling and she's saying, okay. See, everybody's laughing now. It's not a joke. Someone can say these harsh words to you who won't be me. If somebody speaks that harsh words is, okay, I'll give one very small story. It happened in this is a true story. This is not a myth. In Vrindavan, one Swami Raghavanand was lecturing in his ashram, and an old woman came in, and she started yelling, you are exploiter, you are pakhandi, you are a hypocrite, you are a dog. And she went on. Now everybody was listening in all the quietness, and suddenly this old woman is yelling and screaming, and so obviously everybody is looking at her, and Swamiji is also looking at her, and somebody from the audience said, Swamiji, she is saying all to you. He said, no, she never said my name. She's God knows saying to who. And she heard this, and she said, Raghavanand, I am saying to you. Raghavanand, I am saying to you. And Swamiji said, well, there are so many Raghavanands in Vrindavan. So why should I feel upset? And then she came close and she started pointing fingers. I am saying to you. And Swamiji said, well, that's the body and that's not me. So you are not saying to me. And everybody is listening to this, nonsense going on. And a point came that the old woman held Swamiji's head and she said, shaking his head, I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you. And he said, well, this head is not me. This head is not me. So you cannot insult me. See, it's one thing to listen a story and laugh. And there's another story when someday somebody will do the same too. And when it happened, you lost it. Yes, your brother or mother or sister or son or daughter or husband or friend or somebody when will say these harsh words to you, will you remember that? That you are not this body mind? So it's one thing to listen in the comfort of an air-conditioned room, the Brahma Vidya, but your intellect, when fails to apply it, then you will consider, I have failed. Did you fail? Who failed? The intellect failed. So intellect is my nearest neighbor. And Jesus says, love thy neighbor. But Jesus never said, be the neighbor or marry your neighbor. He said, love thy neighbor. So you should love your intellect, make it clean, make it pure. But don't consider this intellect as me. So this mind, intellect cannot know the Chaitanya, but Chaitanya knows the mind and knows the intellect. What is Jada? Answer. That which does not know itself and that which does not know others either, such a gyāna, the ignorance, and the functional five elements, and all the physical world manifesting from them are all Jada. The basic quality of the Jada is, one, that it doesn't know that it is, and it also doesn't know that the others exist. Third thing which is missing over here, I'd like you to add on to it, is that Jada needs somebody else to know it. Now who will know the Jada? The Chaitanya. So Jada needs a Chaitanya to know it, and Jada doesn't know the neighboring Jada, and this whole physical world is Jada, but none of these things know that they are Jada. Like this room doesn't know that I am sitting here, or so many people are sitting here, or they are talking about Brahma Vidya. The room won't dance in happiness. Oh, what a day! I was sitting here for last 5 years and nobody came here. And now Brahma Vidya is happening in me. Will this room say that? Or this chair begin to dance? Ah, Guruji is sitting on me. Or this table will feel, I am so blessed. Okay, Guruji is not sitting on me, but is close to me. No. Jada is that which doesn't know about itself or the others and needs a Chaitanya to know that Jada is. Question. What is the use of reflecting upon the above mentioned entities? In the Mahavakya, Tatta Tvam Asi, that thou art, Tat refers to Ishwara. Now be very attentive. Tat means Ishwara. Tvam means the Jiva. By reflecting upon the meaning of Jiva and Ishwara, which is like reflecting upon the illusion of a snake in a rope, like the deception of man in a tree stump, and like the mirage in a desert, we are able to leave the deception and understand that which is real. This is the use of contemplating upon prapancha, the states and attributes of universal and individual gross, subtle and causal body. Now, Tat Tvam Asi is the one of the Mahavakya. Tat Ishwara. Now, when we say Ishwara, just remember this, Ishwara is the reflection of Brahm in the Maya. When we say Jiva, then Jiva means reflection of Atman in the mind. It's like if you see your reflection in a mirror, that is not you, but yet it is you. And for reflection to happen, you need a mirror. Similarly, Jiva, or in English we can say individual soul, what is that? The Jiva is the reflection of Atman, and Ishvara is the reflection of Brahm. Right? So when we begin to understand the Jiva and Ishwara, we come to know they are just the reflections. The Atman is the reality, the Brahma is the reality, the Jiva and the Ishwara are not. Dangerous bomb is coming here now. Ishwara is just a reflection of Brahma. Now, to understand this, they have given us the example. Example is, say that there was a piece of a rope lying in a dark room which was having partial light, and somebody saw, and misconception happened that there is a snake in it. Or there was this stump of tree, just the trunk is there and the rest part is missing. That's called stump. So the stump of tree in the tree was there in the darkness, the partial light was there, and somebody was walking and he thought, some man is standing there. Oh, this man might rob me, this man might kill me. But he said, so what? I'm a brave boy, I'll just walk and fight. And he walked and he came close. And then he saw, there's no man, it's just a stump. It's a misconception. If you go in a desert, then at a long stretch at a distance, the illusion of the mirage happens. It seems as if there is a water, but there is no water. It's just the vapors coming from that hot sand, and the air above is lesser hot, so it creates this visual illusion of a mirage. So when we understand that this is a deception, this is a misunderstanding, and then when we come to know what is real, that is what vichara thinking would be applied onto this prapancha. That this prapancha is not real. This prapancha is like that snake in the rope, the man in the stump, the mirage in the desert. So when this realization will happen, now this realization has to happen at all the three levels, at gross, at subtle, and at causal. I, addressed as Tvam, the Atman, addressed as Tat in the above truism, am Brahma. I, the Atman, am Brahma. In this manner, one should understand the oneness of Brahma and Atman, which alone is true, and leave behind the deceptive residue. This is the use of contemplating upon who am I and who is Brahman. This is the second part of the answer given. I am Atman and this Atman is Brahman. And when we understand this oneness, and this alone is truth, and what happens is then all the deception of, I don't know God and I am separate from the God, all the longing and the wailing just goes away. And this is the use of doing the vichara on the subject of who am I and who the Brahm is. So if you don't do this vichara, what would happen? One, you will consider this body-mind unit as me and become a doer, and then be tied to the shackles of the karmas. And if you don't do vichara of who Brahm is, you will always fantasize, there is a God who is sitting in the sky. Oh God, and everybody looks at the sky. Hindu looks up, Muslim looks up, Christian looks, everybody says, God is coming. No, not coming. Oh God, are you listening? Oh, not listening. Oh, there is no God. See, Neil Armstrong went to the moon. There is no God. You can begin your journey with faith. Being a Sikh, everybody has a faith. Being a Hindu, you have a faith. You can have a faith of being a Buddhist or a Jaina, whatever. But is your faith getting converted into realization, or is it just still a faith? And 99.99% it remains a faith, and this never gets changed into a realization. And hence, the people who say that we believe God, they actually don't know God. When they say we have faith in God, they are still saying we don't know what God is. And here we have a scripture of Vedanta who is giving you a clear-cut answers of those questions which you never even asked me. Because you don't even know that such a question can be formulated. So you have a ready-made question and you have a ready-made answer, and well, it's now on you how much you make use of this gyāna, this wisdom which I am giving you at the moment. But tvam means you, the Atman. This Atman is Brahm. And in this manner one should understand the oneness of Brahm and Atman, which alone is true. And when you leave all the doubts and questions behind, and this is the use of contemplation of who am I and who is Brahm. The rest we'll do tomorrow.